Good afternoon everybody, Colin here with Techout, and today, I know I'm a little bit late, but we're going to be doing a one-day initial impressions on the Google Pixel 8 Pro. I picked this up yesterday from T-Mobile. I usually get my Pixels on my carriers because it's a little bit easier, but I picked this up yesterday and I've been using it for almost 24 hours now, and I just want to give my initial impressions, some things I like, some things I don't like. First things first, we'll talk about the actual hardware itself and the design. It retains most of the same design as the Pixel 6 Pro, 7 Pro with the camera bar, that kind of stuff, which I do like. I appreciate that it's a little bit different than most, where it's not just a camera going down the side or a big camera bump right there like a square. So it looks unique, looks pretty nice. Large camera right there in the middle. Got your flash and your pixel thermometer down here, which is a exclusive to the 8 Pro. Gimmicky, yes, we'll go over that here in a minute when I get into the software and the actual phone itself, or the inside of the phone itself. One thing I dislike about Pixel hardware is the fact that the power and volume buttons are on the same side. I've always disliked that because if you're reaching in your pocket to silence your phone, or if you are waking your phone up from across, like it's on the bed or something, or on the table, and you just kind of want to reach over like this, you kind of have to feel around, okay, is that the top button? Yep, okay, that's the power button. So I wish they were on different sides, or the power button had a different texture or something like that, just to differentiate, never mind, I ain't gonna try again. Just so you could tell the difference between the power button and what the volume button was, if one of them was on the left and one of them was on the right. So that's the only gripe there about the hardware. Screen is very, very nice. I do appreciate, again, the flat screen with the somewhat kind of curved bezel. The screen itself isn't curved, but the glass is kind of rounded on the edge. It really makes it for a nice feel in the hand, similar to the iPhone 15s, where it's not so sharp on the edge. I'm not the biggest fan of the Pixel launcher. I have been actually going back and forth between Nova 7 and Pixel launcher just to see which one I want to use. I don't like this Google search bar at the bottom. I don't really use it like ever. If I want to Google something, if I want to look something up on the web, I open Chrome and use the full browser experience. So I don't have any need for this down here on the bottom. I wish you could get rid of it and move the icons down. Same with the at a glance thing up here. You can turn off at a glance right here, but if you turn it off, you're still stuck with the date up there, which looks kind of dumb. And I know it's useful, I know it's nice to have the date and the weather up there, but I like to use widgets for that. And it just looks dumb having the at a glance thing doubled up with a widget. So you kind of either have to use at a glance or double up your widgets. So that's one thing I don't like. Second thing I don't like about the software is the always on display. It's not very useful. You get the at a glance stuff up there as well, but you can't put any widgets on it. You can't really customize any of the content. It's basically just the clock and the weather and notification icons. But other than that, I don't even know if it does like total notification icons. You kind of have to wake it up to see most of that stuff. So that is kind of annoying, because most other manufacturers, Samsung, Apple, you can do widgets. Samsung has good luck. You can add widgets that way. So not a huge fan of that, but it is there. So, you have your settings for that under display. And if you go down here to always show time and info right there, tap to check, lift to check, all that kind of stuff. One nice thing about the Pixel 8 Pro, I believe the 8 as well, you can do face unlock, and face unlock works very well if I'm not behind the camera. As you can see there, just unlocked. Unlocks very well. You can also use this in like banking apps and stuff like that if you don't have your fingerprint enabled. I believe if you have fingerprint enabled, it just defaults to that, which I do, so it always just goes through that for the apps. But everything else is pretty good. Battery life's not too bad. I'm not going to kind of judge battery life yet in the first 24 hours because it is still optimizing. I did set it up new, but it's 2:46. I unplugged this thing about noon, and we're at 86%, and I've been using it some, obviously. So not too bad on battery life there. Everything else is performing pretty well. It's a pretty smooth phone. I do have the resolution set to the high resolution, or the highest resolution, whatever they call it, full resolution. The high resolution is 1008 by 2244, and then full resolution is 1344 by 2992. Kind of some weird resolutions there, but I do have it set to high, and I do have smooth display on, which is between 60 and 120. The Pixel 8 Pro is capable of going from 1 hertz to 120 hertz. So I believe this refreshes it from 1 to 60, and then from 60 to 120 when needed. So it saves a little bit of battery there by going down to 60, but you can have it up to 120 if you so choose by turning that on. Some people say that feature is off by default. My Pixel did come with that on by default. I just had to turn the resolution up. So I'm not too sure if one of those affects the other, but I turned the resolution up and then I looked at the 120 hertz and it was already on. So maybe it's because I turned the resolution up and it wasn't. It was disabled by default. But in my case, I didn't have to actually physically turn that on that I noticed. So there is that. Everything else about Android 14 pretty nice. It's, like I said, working pretty smooth with the Tensor G3, and this phone has 12 gigs of RAM on the Pixel 8 Pro. Pixel 8 is going to be 8 gigs of RAM. So I am curious to see how this goes with the software support and all that kind of stuff, as well with the 7 years of updates, whether we're going to get 7 years of actual major Android updates or just 7 years of Pixel feature drops, because they could always introduce feature drops, in one version of Android. So we'll have to see what we actually get and how Google actually does with that. But that's the Pixel 8 Pro. I've been using it, like I said, for about 24 hours now. That's my initial first impressions right there. I am Colin with Techout. Don't forget to comment and subscribe. And as always, have a great day.